Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be analyzing the first ever game on chess.com. Now at the time, daily mode was the only mode that existed, so this is a daily game. And this game was played from July 8th, 2007 to July 11th, 2007. So this game was played about 17 and a half years ago. So yeah, this will be an interesting game. Now our two people playing this game, we have Eric, who is a staff member of chess.com. And he's about 1,800 rating today. At the time, he was only 1,327, but these ratings are definitely not accurate by this point because it's the first ever game. And with the black pieces, we have this guy. I don't know how to pronounce that name, so I'll probably refer to him as the black pieces throughout this. But he got to about 1,100 before he stopped playing games in around 2010. So, I guess let's start. So the first ever move on chess.com, make a guess, it's pretty obvious, e4. This makes sense. This is the most popular move today. First move ever on chess.com, and we get d6. So the first ever opening on chess.com is the Perk defense, and after d4, knight f6, we actually get a lot of theory this game. We get knight c3, g6, bishop e3, and white is playing pretty decent. They're developing all their pieces, you know. A lot of grandmasters probably play like this, and we get bishop g7, queen d2, castles, f3, and we get knight bd7. So we're finally out of theory by move 6. And we get knight bd7, which is an inaccuracy according to the engine. They want c5, sacrificing a pawn. I guess the idea of sacrificing the pawn is like your strike opening the center, hopefully. But overall, it's pretty hard to see by a human. I probably wouldn't have played that move. And after castles, we get e5, which is a perfect move by black. Now, overall, the position was already plus 1.13 for the white pieces because white just played very solidly, and black's mistake, I guess, lost them quite a bit of advantage. So we get h4 by the white pieces, which so far the white pieces have played a perfect game. No bad moves so far, not even an excellent move, all best moves. And after b6, which black is supposed to play h5 to, I guess, stop this flank pawn attack, we get b6, which is an inaccuracy. And after white plays their first non-perfect move, but still good move, g4, you can definitely tell that white definitely has some plans to attack this king. The eval bar says plus 1.9, which is overall a pretty solid advantage to have. And after bishop b7, the advantage grows by an entire 0.5. And the reason, I believe, is because black is not helping their king survive. And after h5, the attack continues. We get queen e7, we get hxg6, which is a perfect move. The reason you don't want to play h6 is because once the bishop goes back, you simply don't have as much of an attack. Now, that's still a decent move overall, but this is just much better. After fxg6, we get bishop c4, and you have to either sacrifice material or you have to go into the corner. Overall, they actually just want a pawn sacrifice. That's how bad the position has gotten. But right here, we get knight h3. Now, something I do want to tell you guys is that this pawn right here is very weak. Now, let's say a3 was played and this knight, for some reason, went to e8. There would actually be the first ever brilliant move on chess.com, rook xh7, which would be a very beautiful way for this game to end. And after takes, queen h2, and you have to sacrifice the queen for this to be faster. But once you block with the bishop, you take. This bishop is covering this square, and the queen is covering all of these squares, which makes a checkmate. So that would have been a pretty cool way to see the game end, but we get this knight h3 move. This is the best move because you're planning to go here, continue the attack. And after exd4, we get bishop xd4. Now after knight e5, we actually get the first move from white that the engine actually doesn't like that much, bishop e2. And the reason is the engine wants you to take because the bishop on this diagonal is just so powerful. So after bishop e2, we get knight f7, another mistake. We get knight f4. And can you see what white is threatening? I'll show you guys because black actually fell for it. Rook 88, so if you want to try to guess what it is, I'll give you a couple seconds. But the move is knight xg6. And the reason this move is so good, they cannot take because of this pin. So after the king goes here, we get knight x e7, and you can't even take the queen back. So after king h8, white's final move is g5 before black resigns the game. So this game, it was pretty interesting. The players obviously had quite a bit of time to think, so it's quite interesting how the first game was only 19 moves, because the average game is probably about 40 moves. So this game for white was played at a 93.7% accuracy, and by black, 72.1% accuracy. So white played a really, really good game on the first ever game in chess.com. So I hope you found that interesting. I found it pretty interesting, to be honest, and if you guys want to see the first ever rapid game on chess.com, then be sure to comment that you want it. And thank you guys so much for watching, and goodbye!